And I am back to the United States and back to cooking. And some know that I went to Poland last month. My family is from Ukraine, and when we heard about the war in Ukraine, I had to go to rescue my mom from Ukraine. So at that point, flights were canceled. So my husband and I went to Poland and we stayed on the border. I talked to some people about the escape from the country to find out how people are moving, what's the process of crossing the border, and things like that. And we finally were able to find someone who took mom across the border to Moldova, later to Romania, and she traveled with us from Romania to Poland, and we stayed in Poland until she was able to come here. But we are excited to have her here in our home now. And so I'm returning back to cooking, and of course, this was one of those trips where you see a lot of people who left their home with nothing, and when we first arrived at the railway station, it was early in March, and there were hundreds of people at the railway station in Krakow, and many were hungry. Well, of course, they were getting meals at certain times of the day. So it wasn't one of those trips where you eat a lot of food or think about food a lot. But later on, when things kind of settled a little bit, I was able to make few trips to the cafeteria and some places around Poland and kind of explore their food a little bit. And it turned out that the culture is very similar to Ukraine, and they meals are pretty much same as Ukrainian, and but there was one thing that kind of stood out, and my husband was with me when we first saw it, and it was this bread spread, and it is a lard-based bread spread. And we don't have something like this in Ukraine, or we don't have something like this here in the United States. And so I decided to find the recipe for that bread spread. And um, of course, as usually, we're having some challenges cooking it in America because you can't get pork fat the way you get it at the market in Poland or some other countries. And so I actually couldn't find in my hometown here. I couldn't find uh, pork fat to melt to make lard myself. So I just had to buy a pack of lard, and it's not the same, but I decided to see what will happen, and surprisingly, it turned out okay. And so this is a spread that has lard, garlic, onions, a little bit of black pepper, apples, and bacon crisps. So you fry the bacon and like melt the bacon and fry it until it's crispy, and then I kind of chop them up finely. And so, and there are recipes online for this, but I just kind of decided to experiment a little bit on my own, and I chopped all of those ingredients, and then I was just adding a little bit at a time and see like what will taste good. So I will not be given any like special proportions of like what how you want to mix it. Just those ingredients: garlic, onion, apple, and bacon. And you add it all to the lard, and this is kind of what it turns out to be. And I kept it overnight. I cooked it actually yesterday, and flavors blended, and now it is actually tastes pretty good. All of the flavors blended really well. When you first make it, it doesn't taste that good. And so, and then you just spread it on the bread or kind of dip your bread in. And so this is kind of something simple and something that I found interesting and different in that country. But it feels good to be home. It feels good to eat good food again, and it feels good to have my mother here and my family kind of a little bit more complete now. So I'll see you next time.